So, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to tell you the story of how I got into analog photography, show you the cameras that I have gotten during these 2 or 3 years that I've been able to shoot on film, and of course show you some of the photos, mainly the ones that I started to do in the first stage of film photography for me. So I hope you guys have fun, and let's start. So, back in 2021, I wanted to define a bit my photographing style, and I started to try to be more influenced by the style of some photographers I used to admire. And there was one that I used to like a lot. Well, I still like him a lot. His name is Marco Kruger, and he's known on Instagram as Radio Inference. But I was not able to reach something similar to his style. Maybe what I achieved was to do through some edits something that was 80% similar to what he was doing by then. But I still had this kind of curiosity about what he was doing different. So when I started to investigate about him and try to find out how his creative process was, I find out that he was shooting on film, and that basically, if I remember well, he was doing only film photography. So that's how I started to be interested in it. In this research that I've made, I find out that um, there were like contemporary stories about film photography that were very important, and obviously, as many film photographers and photographers in general, I found out about the work of Vivian Mayer. So I get really obsessed with her photos. I really like how sharp they used to look, how beautifully composed they were, and of course I fell in love with the design of the Rolleiflex that she used to have. And I started to think a lot about that camera, to have something similar, because it was and it is still really expensive. So to start, I decided to look for like a really cheap option. But since I wasn't sure how it was going to result, for me, I decided to go and buy Lomo 166, a Lomo Lubitel. It's a Russian brand. I found some of these cameras on eBay for around $25-30, and a couple of weeks afterwards I got it at my home. So this is the Lomo Lubitel 166. It is a TLR, and it uses a 120 mm film. So it's a really beautiful camera, but it is cheap, and to be honest, I never got to use it. I think that I was a bit afraid of it. I was a bit afraid that it was a second-hand camera that I just got on eBay, and that it was not going to work. Besides, about the technicalities of film photography, I used to not know anything. Anyway, I got a film, as you can see here, but since I wasn't sure about if I was able to load it correctly and if the camera was actually working, I remember that when I was a kid, and I used to see all those negatives from my mother's camera, I was able to see the image through the negatives. So I thought that if I opened the camera and take a look at the film, maybe I was going to be able to look at something if I was making the exposure process correctly. But obviously this was a very stupid idea. So afterwards I learned that film was sensitive to light, so I kind of knew that I ruined at least some of the exposures. I don't know if I can expose the film again, but since then this film remained here and I never took it out. And now I have this camera just like as a toy, let me say. I don't know if it actually works. It's a bit hard to focus with it because the viewfinder is a bit shitty since it is a really cheap camera. But maybe one day I can try it out and tell you guys how is it to shoot with a thing like this. Well, that was my first camera, and I just got more obsessed with film photography. I wasn't disappointed or whatever. I just thought that maybe there was an easier way for me to approach to the topic. So I started again to see how the world of film photography was working on Instagram, and I found a guy that buys and sells cameras on in Mexico City. So scrolling through the options that he had by then, something that I found affordable and that was really pretty to me in terms of design, but also easy to use for a beginner, was the Yashica Electro 35, which is actually the first camera that I was able to shoot with and get at least something coming out from a film roll. This is the Yashica. It's a really beautiful camera, and it is famous because it was featured in the film of Spider-Man that was protagonized by Andrew Garfield. So this is the camera that Peter Parker used in the movie. As you can see, it is really pretty. It's in really good state. It is a telemetric camera, which makes the focus process a bit tricky but funny, because you need to match kind of two layers of an image together so you know it's on focus. And it was a really fun and interesting experience to me. I guess that the first film I got was Kodak Pro Image 100 that honestly I didn't investigate too much about film and cameras, so I just got whatever was really cheap and that was compatible with this kind of cameras. And I started just like to shoot. To me, sometimes it is much better to kind of throw myself into the water without investigating too much, because I realized that the more I investigate about something, the more I stop myself to doing it, because then I say like I'm still not prepared, and then I am never prepared. So sometimes I just have the impulse to start to doing something and just learn through the process of a day, everyday doing, just like this YouTube channel. But yeah, I think that works for me better than try to be super prepared. Obviously, I'm not like this in every part of my life, but at least for creativity and this kind of projects, it usually works. I started to photograph basically whatever that was surrounding me. I have many photos that were not really on focus, but because I was using a 100 ISO film on really dark subjects and really dark environment. So obviously I didn't know very well how the output was gonna be. And yeah, you may think, yeah, but this is very logic. But by then I used to, I don't know, used to try to shoot, try to see, like to experiment, and then whenever I was able to see the results, then I started to ask myself what was going on, what went wrong, and then try to improve it. So basically, as you can see, there are many bad photos, but the ones that I took in the daylight, there are a couple of ones that I am actually proud about. Those are photos that I still like nowadays, and I guess that it was a pretty good experience as a first camera for me. Then, after I moved from Mexico to Switzerland, I kept doing photos with this Yashica, and the problem was that I sent a film roll to the lab that I send my films here in Switzerland, and they told me that the film has come out totally dark, and that there might be a problem with the camera having some leak and allowing the light pass through the body of the camera till the film. so that I needed to check it. They gave to me a free dev and scan for the next time that I will visit their store, and they offered to check on the camera, but to be honest, I just really forgot because I didn't used to shoot a lot of film, and I just left it there till I started to look for more like different cameras. I was very curious about what other kinds of ways to shoot film there were, so I just came very interested into point and shoot cameras because I think they were suitable for what I wanted to do with film photography, which was to be more quick and present into everyday events that I wanted to document, like family gatherings, like going out with friends, normal day by day that I was having. And actually, I found out one that till now is my main camera for budget reasons, but also for the easiness that it comes with it. And this camera I'm talking about is a Canon AF35M, which is a really beautiful, bit bulky for a compact camera, but really good style. I love it. It's really portable. Besides the bulkiness, I can take it on the pocket of my jacket. I can take it on some small bags and so on. And I actually have taken to some trips I have done by car, by train, by plane, and it's a really comfortable camera to use. It's totally automatic and electronic, so I guess that for a beginner it works really well to have a starting point to be introduced to film photography. So in case you guys want to start to doing film photography, this is a perfect camera for it. I still use it. I still consider it as my main film camera, and well, I'm in love with it. I still need to try some other point and shoots that I am interested in, but it has accompanied me through a long journey, and you can actually see some of the photos I have done with it. Basically, it's the same. Like my subjects on film photography are always kind of the same. It's moments I live with family and friends, things that I see on the street that could appear interesting to me. Some like complementary photos from some photo shootings I do on my digital work and so on. But basically, it's the same topics, the same subjects, just always trying to improve composition, trying to improve focusing, and so on. So, yep, till now I keep using it, I keep taking it with me everywhere, and I guess that will be the same for a long time. Okay, guys, so my next camera is one that has one of my favorite designs ever, and I got it about the same time that I got the Canon. But to be honest, I don't use it that much because the focusing system is not difficult, but I suffer a lot of anxiety. So whenever I am doing photography, I tend to be really fast, and the focus system of this camera actually makes me to need to stop a bit and think about distances. So that's a bit hard for me to do, and that's why I decided to not use it a lot, but I actually like it a lot. And this camera I'm talking about is the Konica C35. It's the camera that Andy Warhol used to have besides his famous Polaroid. And actually, it's a really pretty camera, really easy to use, as I say, just the problem with the focus. Maybe I need to start to take seriously the advice of going slow in photography. Maybe on film photography, I think that it's a really good way to try to stop and think about what you want to do, mainly because you have only 35 expositions per film, and it is really expensive to get them and develop them. So that's why you need to make sure that exposition you have is worth. Till now I haven't achieved it, so maybe I'm gonna start a project about going slow with this camera, and I will show you the results in case I do it, because I think it will be something that really benefits me. Anyway, it's a really beautiful camera, as you can see. I don't know, I just like the pretty design of it. It's just like an amazing camera with this flash that opens. As you can see, it's totally functioning, and well, it's one of my favorite cameras in regards of design. So actually it will be, I will be exciting about like doing a project with it. But let's see what the future has for this camera. The next one is this Yashica. It is the Yashica FXD. The story about this camera is special because I get to see this camera like 10 or 11 years ago. It was my best friend's father camera, and she took it to some party to show it to a person that was very interested in photography, and I got to see the camera by then. So when I started to be interested into film photography, I asked her about it, and she told me that she needed to look for it, and I asked if her father was interested into selling it. And then before I moved from Mexico to Switzerland, she gave it to me as a present. That was like very special to me, obviously, because it is my best friend. I think it is a beautiful camera. It was, I guess, suitable for beginners, but the problem is that it's not functioning. There is something wrong with the electronic system, because whenever you put the battery on it, it gets really hot, and also the dial for the ISO and the shutter speed is kind of stuck. But whenever I am in better financial conditions, I'm gonna take it to the camera shop to see if there is a way to get it fixed, maybe even do some reskin of it, because I really want to try it out. It would be really cool to make a project with it and show to her that somehow the camera is still alive doing some things. But in case I don't get to repair it, I guess I'm gonna use clean it very well and put it on the camera shelf, just like as a decoration, because it's an object that I really appreciate, and that I give some importance because of the story that it has. So saying this, we arrived to the last camera I have, which is this beautiful Olympus OM2. The story of this camera is really funny. I was trying to look for something that could produce similar results that a Nikon FM2, because this camera has gone crazy expensive on the internet. And scrolling through Lomography, I found out that there were some photos that I really like the quality and so on, besides the film roll, and they were all made with Olympus OM1. And researching a bit about this camera, I heard that it was a great device, but people recommended even more the Olympus OM2, since there was a big improvement from the first model to the second one. And it was a really funny story, because that very same day, in some WhatsApp group of group photography that I started to hang out with, some guy said that he was selling some photography equipment, and in this selection there was this Olympus OM2, and it's a camera that it's in very good condition. I think it was in really good hands. He sold it to me. We got to made a really good deal with it. It came with a Suico 50 millimeters aperture 1.8, and I was able to test it like 2 weeks ago. Use it for a portrait photo shoot that I had, and I just got the photos back from the lab, and they turned out to be really good. Since as I said, main camera was a Canon. During these almost 3 years that I've been doing film photography, I was accustomed to use like push a button and then get a photography, because that's how point and shoots work. But actually, I fell in love with the process of measuring the light, manually focus, to change the shutter speed with a ring, to change the type of field with a ring. And yeah, I guess that manually focusing with the ring here is just a sensation that I cannot describe, but it was really fun to me to doing it. So after that first photo shooting with this Olympus, that's when I started to think about photography all the time. I think I even dreamt of it a couple of nights. So now I'm very obsessed with trying to make photos all the time. I don't know, the sensation that it gives to me to focus and press the shutter, it's just an amazing feeling. So I guess that it is what is I like about it. 2 days ago, I had the opportunity to cover a concert in Zurich, and I had the idea to make some photos with the camera and with the Cinestill 800. So I did it. I don't know how the photos are gonna come, but whenever they come back from the lab, I'm gonna show it to you. I used the Cinestill 800, and now there is like some exposures I made with an Ilford 3200. So as I said, I'm really excited about the outcome of this concert with this camera, and I will show you guys when the photos are ready. Let me know if you'd be interested in to see more like of what I'm doing in terms of showing you specifically photos and so on, and the creative process or the thoughts behind them. And also feel free to leave things that you are interested into knowing about me, into knowing about film photography. Even if I am a beginner, I think that for somebody that is interested into start into this world, I can be a bit of help for you. So feel free to comment and suggest any topic you want to talk about, or to make any kind of questions that you will have, and I try to answer them either on the comments or here. You can reach me also on my social media that I will leave on the description of the video. There are links to my Instagram, to my lomography profile, and of course to Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee, where I will be uploading the result of whole films and so on, posting some tips and tricks, maybe some behind the scenes. I'm not sure yet the total of content that will be there, but I really want to invest some time on it for you, and for the ones that will be interested into knowing more of my work. And also I would like to add some maybe postcards, because in the world of film photography, I think that something that is very good is that you can actually have lots of physical processes and lots of physical things. So maybe if I am able to send a postcard or two to you guys, it will be great that you can have prints of my work. So yeah, if you're curious, go and check on the links in the description of the video. I thank you a lot for coming today to watch this video, and of course, if you want and you can, it will help me a lot if you subscribe, if you turn on the notifications. And that will be all from my side. So thank you a lot, and till the next video.